Welcome to the How You Got Started podcast, helping you find your passions by hearing stories of entrepreneurs that are living theirs. Today, we're speaking with Gail Moore, a personal trainer and the owner of Fitness After 50. Thank you so much for joining me today, Gail.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here.
Tell me how you got started and what was the journey that got you to where you are today?
Yeah, it's kind of a unique story, I guess. I back in 2012, Christmas of 2012, was the first time that one of our sons he had moved to Japan to teach English in 2011. So it was the
Oh.
first Christmas that he got home, and also his brother moved to Vancouver. I was surprised actually when he decided to move out, and he looked at my husband and I and said, "Well, I'm not going to live here with you two,"
What do you
because
mean?
he
Stay
was
here.
yeah, he was the third of three. I thought he wanted to be an only son, but anyway, so both of them came home at Christmas in 2012, and we had a fantastic visit. It was so good to see them, and we hung out. We had a hot tub. We spent a lot of time in. We went bowling. We just had a really great holiday. But
Hmm.
I could tell that they were happy to go back to their new homes and their jobs,
Mhm.
and it really got me to, analyze, well, how come I'm not happy to go back to my job,
Hmm.
which, I had been in commercial printing for, at that stage, 30 odd years and was very successful at it and had not really questioned what the next 5, 10 years was gonna look like. But it helped me realize I wasn't happy, with my job at the time, and I thought, "Well, that's interesting. Why would you do something you're not happy with?" And there were other factors. Printing was going through quite a change 11 years ago.
Hmm.
It's and it has still changed, and, the ownership was changing at the company I was working with, and there was just a lot of things going on. Um, the other half of that was I wasn't happy with my fitness routine at my gym, and I had had an experience that fall, so a couple of months previous, when I reactivated my membership after the summer. I had a free personal training session, and I had worked with personal trainers before. So the free session was with a very young person, very new trainer, and nothing against new trainers or young people. But when she asked me, did I have any aches and pains, and I walked her through all of them, because I was 55 years old,
Yeah.
um, and then she gave me really inappropriate exercises to do.
Um,
And even in my, I didn't know a lot, but I knew enough that that's not what I should be doing. So
mhm.
that was kind of a aha moment. So it just got me thinking about being a personal trainer. I talked to two trainers, friends that they weren't trainers of mine, but they were younger people than I knew, and they both were very encouraging. They thought it was just a super idea that I would take my knowledge of what a 50-something-year-old body felt like, and help train people who aren't necessarily, comfortable in a gym. And, it was funny too, that fall when I was at my gym, I really respected a gentleman that would come in his street clothes. So he'd come into the gym in his street clothes. He looked like he was in his 70s, and he would get on a recumbent bike and quite clearly no tension. And he would pedal just without any tension for about 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes. He'd get off the bike, he'd wipe it down, and he'd walk out the door.
Huh.
And I thought, good on you that
Yeah.
you come into this, spandex pumping, environment and do what you need to do.
Yeah.
And then and then walk out. So the more I looked into it, the more, of course, in the United States, training older adults was a business model, but certainly in Guelph, we didn't seem to have that. We had some things, but it just felt like there was a niche there. So I luckily I had no idea it was going to be as hard as it was to get certified.
Oh,
Otherwise, I otherwise I probably wouldn't have done it. But I did, but I
well,
didn't
thank
know.
goodness. Yeah, thank goodness you didn't know. How did you get certified? What was that process?
So that's through CanFit Pro. And CanFit Pro either owns Good Life or the other way around. Good Life owns CanFit Pro. Anyway,
Mhm.
they are connected. So that's how all your trainers are trained at that work at Good Life. So it was a 25-hour in-person class over a weekend, well, Friday through Sunday,
Mhm.
pretty intense. And then you had a written test that you had to get 80% on, and you had a practical test with that trainer that you also had to get 80% on. And you took your client, which for me was a girlfriend, and you trained that client in front of the trainer. So I failed both. Uh, I I did not get 80% in either one of them.
Well,
Uh,
thank you for sharing that, because you know what? We need to hear that sometimes, but you clearly didn't give up.
no, no, and my trainer, my pro trainer is what they're called, the lady that was training me, to be a trainer, she was amazing, and she spent so much time with me and helping with the practical.
Mm,
Uh, so part of the process too was working, 40 hours training friends and relatives, so that was also part of the process, but, so she helped me. I just made two really glaring errors. And she said, I could have passed you with the 80%, but I just felt it wasn't in your best interest for me to do that. So I did pass the next time I did it with flying colors. Um, the 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 theory part um, was based, as it should be, on proper names of muscles,
uh,
which none of my clients care if I call your quad muscle by there's 4 muscles that make up a quad,
mm.
and, yeah, I still couldn't tell you what those 4 muscles are.
But you
'Cause
know, it's the top. Is that the top of the leg? I don't even know.
exactly, and that's when I went to my mom's after I did the written exam, and I said, "Oh, I know I failed," and I used the quad as an example, and she says, "Well, that's not a quad, that's my thigh."
Mm, mm. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so that was one component. I didn't have my a anatomy down as
Mm,
well as it should have been, and the other part was, machines. I didn't know the machines that are in a gym. And again, for the people that are going to work at Good Life, that's what they need to know.
mhm.
Uh, my equipment is I have a recumbent bike here, treadmill, certainly dumbbells and bands, but I don't need to see you on. And again, I don't know the proper names of
Right.
those those pieces of machinery.
Mm,
Anyway, I learned enough that I successfully passed, and, that was just to become a personal trainer. What I really wanted to be was what they call, CanFit Pro calls the older adult fitness specialist.
mm,
So then that was another weekend, um, where, of course, I coulda almost taught the course
mm.
because I live that, right? So they made us um, tape tennis balls to our feet to feel what old feet feel like. And,
My
uh,
good. Did you
and
feel that that was a good representation of what old feet felt like?
it would be what old feet could feel like,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Or, again, I think it was a tennis ball behind the knee,
Huh.
and that's what old knees might feel like, right? So, yeah, it was a little, yeah. But it was easy for me to pass that because that was my lived experience, so, and
Excellent.
yeah, and off I went.
Amazing. What would you say your clients love about you the most?
I think, so my clients aren't comfortable in a gym. That I can say that is 100% uh, about all of them.
Ah,
And I think what the biggest compliment that I get a lot is I'll say something to the effect of, "Well, that's it for today." And they'll kinda go like this and look for a clock and say, "What, we're done already?"
huh.
And that's the biggest one of the biggest compliments that I do get. It's painless,
Mm,
uh, mentally and hopefully physically.
mhm.
Um, it just we work through it, we talk a lot, we laugh, and it's over, and they don't really know they worked out.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it is kind of fun.
Yeah. What is your favorite part of what you do?
I think it's the personal part of it.
Mm,
So I have had the opportunity to teach some classes, and that's not my thing. I really like the one-on-one, or sometimes I work with pairs, like a mother-daughter or couples or friends. But it's being able to really zone in on where they will benefit most from my time. So that's what I really enjoy the most.
When we were initially kind of going back and forth for through conversation, because actually you are Carly Ann Moore's mother-in-law, right? That's how I
Uh-huh.
was got connected to you, and she's such a lovely person. But in in the emails back and forth, you had mentioned that you're a feminist. Can you talk to me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so, I always have been, and I'm proud of it.
Mhm,
So I grew up in the, 70s, 60s and 70s. I'm the oldest of 4. I don't know if that's got anything to do with it.
mhm,
I have 2 sisters, and, both my mom, who was a traditional stay-at-home homemaker, but both my mom and my dad, and I'm gonna say especially my dad, um, like my sisters and I played baseball, we skated, we did the things that my brother did almost. I
mhm,
was a little annoyed that, he got to play hockey and I
mhm.
didn't. But back in the '60s, there were no helmets, and I had glasses and braces, and, my parents wouldn't let me play because of my glasses and braces.
Oh
They
wow.
were they were protecting their investment more than a boy-girl type thing.
Yeah,
So,
that makes
uh,
sense.
yeah,
Would you have been allowed to play if you had a helmet?
that would have been the next challenge.
Ah, that's what I
Yeah.
thought, because I didn't even know if that was
Oh,
yeah, oh, but they would have, if you could have, they would have fought for it?
yeah. Oh,
Well,
yeah.
that's awesome. I love that.
Yeah, so how that got instilled in me, and then fast forward when I was a manager for my oldest son, hockey team. There were, and it was AAA rep, so that was the highest level
Mm,
you could play in Guelph at the time.
mhm.
Um, there were 2 young women on the team that the coaches had picked, but I helped make sure that that was comfortable for them. So that was pretty cool too. Yeah.
It's interesting how your parents empowered you as you
Mhm.
were growing up, and it's almost like right now, the job that you've chosen, you're empowering others.
Mhm. Yeah, I'd like to think that it's very much, about making their lives better, which is empowering. It
Mhm,
really is. One of my clients, he's about to get his insulin medication, so he's diabetic. They're
mm.
gonna lower his insulin because he is working out,
Wow,
and yeah, that's just huge, right? So,
absolutely.
yeah.
I recently read that tension on your muscles when you exercise releases, I want to say, the happy hormones. I can't remember what.
Let's go with that. Yeah.
Yeah, which that is really exciting, and that's one of the ways. So exercise is so important.
Mhm.
What would you tell someone who is 50 and over, um, that's afraid, or that they just haven't got moving, and maybe they don't know what to do? What advice would you give them?
Hire me as your personal trainer. That would be my first advice. But if that's not something that we were talking about, move more. That's
Mm,
one of my favorite sayings, move more. And it doesn't matter if you're in your 90s, um, everybody can move more and will benefit from that.
yeah.
Yeah, and it does feel good. So I was recently at I'm in a networking group that meets, and I've just recently joined it. So I got them up, and we just did what's called dynamic stretching, which is
Mm.
just swinging your legs, swinging your arms. And then I said, "Okay, everybody sit down." And we sat down, and I think they were worried that it was going to get be worse than that. So everybody sat down. Yeah, that sat down with a smile, and I looked at I think there were 10 of them. I looked at everybody and I said, "Now, who wishes we didn't do that?"
Good one.
And right? It was like 3 or 4 minutes, we moved, and of course, everybody felt better for it,
Yes.
period.
Yeah, that's what it is. A lot of times there's this apprehension about just starting, just like going and doing something. But as soon as you just do even the smallest thing, like that guy that went in and just did a quick 15 minutes on the elliptical, every little thing is better than nothing. Um, yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
If someone was to get
Yeah.
wanting to get into becoming a personal trainer, what advice would you give them to make sure that, like, so that they knew, you know what? Yeah, this is something I want to do.
I would probably suggest, that they were, kinesiology grads,
Mm,
which is, it's something that I regret, is a strong word, but I wish I had that,
mm,
because I think your understanding of the muscles and it's you just have a better understanding. So, one of the trainers that encouraged me to get into it, she is a kin grad, and, I still call her if I'm perplexed by something, and she walks me through it. So, that, that's probably a pretty heavy thing. Anybody else, I think what I see, personal trainers in the gym, they're trainers because they like working out,
mm.
and that's cool. But I think you need to really like people. You really want to be almost, and healthcare people might, laugh at me, but I almost feel I'm in the healthcare industry,
Absolutely.
um, because I'm helping people be healthier. So
Yes. Yeah. Well, exercise is one of the key things that everyone should be doing for your brain health, for your body health, for your heart, everything. Now we had talked about how you're not on social media, which I respect that, because right now everyone's just, as my kids say, they're scrolling, but you're not. So that's just awesome. But if someone wanted to connect with you, what is the best way to do so?
I have a brochure and the website. So, it's a website that I'm very proud of. My pricing's on that website because why wouldn't you do that? So that is the best way, and that is fitnessafter50.ca, all one word.
And is
And
it 50 spelled like
oh,
5 no, like
yeah,
50?
yeah,
Okay.
fitnessafter50.ca. Yep, thank you.
.ca. Thank you so much, Gail, for joining me today. It was so lovely to hear about how you are serving the population of 50 and over and helping them get the exercise that they need. So thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you very much. That was very enjoyable. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, audience and guests, for watching. The Hugs discount code is Hugs50. That's Hugs50. And you can share that with Gail by sending her an email or going to her website, giving her a call, and giving the discount code Hugs50, which will give you one free session. So you can try it out and see if it's the right thing for you, which I'm sure it will be. Thank you so much, Gail. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.